my tender heart, lean in close. What I am about to say is not for the noise around you. It is not for the part of you that is still performing, still managing, still holding everything together with exhausted hands. What I want to say is for the quietest place inside you, the place you rarely visit because it hurts a little to go there, the place where you are not strong, not composed, not certain, the raw, honest, beautiful center of who you truly are. That is the place I am speaking to right now. Not to the version of you that woke up this day and already started calculating what had to be done. Not to the version that reached for the phone before your feet even touched the floor and felt that familiar dull weight pressing down before the day had fully begun. Not to the version that carries responsibilities so large they have become part of your identity, so that sometimes you forget there is a person underneath all of it. A real person with a real heart that has been waiting for something that is not another obligation, not another demand, not another performance standard to meet. I am speaking to the version that has been waiting a long time to simply be held, to not have to explain, to not have to justify, to not have to measure up to something. Come close. Come into this moment as you are, with all of it intact. The weariness, the uncertainty, the hope that still flickers, even when you tell yourself it has gone out. The love that still runs deep, even when you have stopped saying it out loud. The faith that still exists, even when your prayers feel like they are hitting a ceiling and falling back into your lap unanswered, or at least unanswered in the ways you expected. Bring all of that with you. Do not clean yourself up before you come. Do not perform readiness. Simply come. I see all of it, and I receive all of it, and I receive you. There is something I have been holding, waiting for the right moment to place in your hands. A truth so simple, it might feel almost too small when you first receive it. A truth so foundational that if you truly let it settle below the level of intellectual acknowledgement into the actual bedrock of how you experience yourself and your life, it will change the ground you walk on. Not necessarily the circumstances around you in an instant, but something more foundational than circumstances. The lens through which you interpret every circumstance. The soil in which every other aspect of your life is rooted. You are deeply, tenderly, completely loved by me, not as a concept, not as a comfort you reach for when everything else has failed and there is nowhere else to turn. As a living, breathing, present reality that is happening right now in this exact moment, in the exact place you are sitting or standing or lying down. My love for you is not something that waits on the other side of your performance. It does not increase when you get it right and decrease when you fall short. It is not rationed out based on how consistent your prayers have been or how long it has been since you last opened the book I gave you, or how many times you have succeeded at the things you promised yourself you would change. My love is the ground itself, the air you are breathing right now, the pulse in your chest that has been beating since the day I formed you and has never once required your conscious effort to continue. It was there before you knew my name. It was there in every season when you turned away. It was there in the darkest nights when you were convinced I had forgotten you entirely, when the silence felt so complete and so long that you began to wonder if you had ever truly heard my voice at all, or if you had only imagined it. It was there in the quiet seasons when nothing felt particularly spiritual, and yet you kept going. kept believing in some residual way, kept returning even without certainty. I was not absent in those nights. I was not absent in any of it. I was closer than you realized. Let me show you something. Let me take you back to the places that still carry weight, the chapters you wish you could rewrite, the seasons that left marks that have not fully faded, not to open old wounds, not to rehearse pain that belongs in the past, but to show you something you could not see when you were inside the pain, because there is something hidden in the very places you have been most afraid to look. There is evidence there, specific and personal evidence, of a love that was present when you were too overwhelmed to perceive it. And seeing that evidence changes something. It changes the story you tell about those seasons. And when the story changes, the weight changes to, I saw you in the middle of the season that nearly broke you. I remember the exact quality of that time. Not just the events, but the specific weight of it. The texture of what it felt like to be inside those particular days, when everything was pressing and nothing was releasing, and you were doing the best you could with what you had. And it was not enough by any honest measure. I remember the moment when you hit a wall inside yourself and felt yourself crack, not physically, something deeper. The sense that you had been carrying too much for too long, and the load had finally become more than your shoulders could manage without something giving way. You tried not to let anyone see it. You kept your voice steady in the conversations that required steadiness. You kept moving, kept fulfilling the things that needed fulfilling, kept showing up to the things you could not abandon. But inside, something was coming apart in a way that frightened you, because you had always been the person who held things together. And the experience of not holding together, of feeling the structure of yourself become unstable, was terrifying in its own specific way. It brought up questions about who you were without the stability you had always relied on. It made you wonder whether you were less than you had thought you were. I was there for every second of that, not watching from a distance with detached concern, not observing from some elevated remove, aware of your struggle but uninvested in it, present, actively, intimately present, the way a parent sits beside a child who is burning with fever through the long hours of the night. Not solving it instantly, because the timing of healing has a wisdom that impatience cannot access, but staying, keeping vigil, holding the space of care and love and absolute commitment through the whole difficult night, through every restless hour, through every moment when the child's eyes open and there is something there, something familiar and warm and constant to confirm that they are not alone in what they are enduring. That is what I was doing beside you. And the reason you made it through was not because you were strong enough. You were not strong enough. And that is not a failure or a deficiency in your character. It is simply the honest truth about what you were facing and what it demanded. I want you to be free of the lie that says you should have been able to handle it on your own, that a stronger person or a more faithful person would have managed it better. The reason you made it through is because I was the strength underneath you. When yours ran out, you felt empty, and you were empty of your own resources. But I was not empty. I carried you through in ways that looked from the outside like you were simply enduring. But endurance, true endurance, the kind that outlasts what the person enduring it can produce on their own strength, is almost always a hidden miracle. Almost always, it is the evidence of a love that refuses to let go. working underneath the surface of what is visible to anyone observing. I refused to let go. I have never let go. I will not let go. And I want to tell you something else about that season. The things you were afraid you would lose during it. The things that felt like they were slipping or had already slipped. Some of them did change. I will not pretend otherwise. Some things shifted in ways that were painful, and the effects were real and lasting. But what you feared most losing, the things most essential, the things that cannot be permanently taken by circumstance or difficulty or the passage of time, those things were protected. Sometimes protection looks like loss in the short view and only reveals itself as preservation over a longer span of time. Sometimes what appears to be taken is being repositioned. Sometimes what feels like an ending is the first movement of a beginning whose shape you cannot yet perceive, because you are still too close to the ending to see what it is preparing the way for. You do not yet have the full view of what that season produced in you. I do. And what I see when I look at who you became through it, the depth that was added, the capacity that was built, the understanding that no amount of ease could have generated. What I see is extraordinary, not in spite of what you went through, but because of it, and more specifically, because of the way I was with you through it, because of what we built together in those difficult hours. The things built in hard seasons are made of different material than the things built in easy ones. They have a density and a resilience that cannot be manufactured by any shortcut. They are the things that hold when the next storm comes. What was built in you during that hard time is still in you. Carrying that knowledge forward changes how you see what you went through. And then there was the other season, the one that looked better from the outside but felt quieter in a way that unsettled you. The season where things were functioning, obligations were being met. The surface of life was largely stable, and yet there was a strange dullness under the surface. A sense of going through motions, of doing everything that was required, and still feeling disconnected from something essential you could not quite name. A flatness that you could not explain to anyone because from the outside everything appeared fine, and fine was supposed to be enough. But fine did not feel like enough, and you wondered if something was wrong with you for finding fine insufficient. You wondered if you had asked for too much, hoped for too much. And this subtle flatness was just what life eventually became when the initial intensity of things settled into the long, ordinary middle. You wondered if everyone else felt this way and had simply accepted it without complaint, and whether your inability to simply accept it was a kind of ingratitude or immaturity. I want to tell you what was actually happening in that season. I was doing the slow, quiet work of healing something deep inside you. Not the kind of healing that announces itself with drama. Not the breakthrough that changes everything in a single powerful moment you can point to and say there, that is when everything shifted. The other kind, the kind that happens underneath the surface, in the root system of who you are, in the places so foundational that when they shift, everything eventually shifts, but the movement is gradual and patient and invisible to anyone looking from the outside, including often to the person it is happening in. You were not stagnating in that quiet season. You were growing roots, and roots grow down before anything grows up. Roots do not look like progress. They look like stillness, like nothing happening, like time passing without visible result. But they are the reason the tree does not fall when the storm comes. They are the reason that when the season of visible growth arrives, the growth is not thin and brittle and easily damaged, but deep and capable of holding real weight, capable of bearing fruit under pressure, capable of standing in conditions that would overwhelm something built on a shallower foundation. I knew what was coming for you ahead of that quiet season. I could see the road further than you could see it, and I knew that what was coming would require roots deeper than what you had at that point. So I did the preparatory work, the work you could not see because it was happening below the surface of anything visible, the work that felt to you like nothing was happening at all. Something was happening. Something essential and irreplaceable was happening. I was happening. I never stopped working on your behalf, even when I am most invisible to you, especially when I am most invisible to you. The seasons of apparent absence are often the seasons of deepest engagement. The silence that feels like distance is often the silence of someone leaning in very close, working with great care and attention on something that requires quiet and patience to do well. Do not judge the seasons that feel like nothing by how they feel from inside them. Judge them later by what they made possible that would not have been possible otherwise. Trust the seasons that feel like nothing. Something is always happening. There is a lie that has been whispering to you for a long time. It speaks in a voice that sounds almost reasonable, almost like wisdom, almost like the kind of honest self-assessment that a spiritually mature person would make. It is subtle enough that you have not always recognized it as a lie. It has sounded at times like humility, at other times like realism, at other times like the responsible management of expectations. The lie says that love has to be earned, that belonging is conditional, that there are things about you, specific and particular things that you know about, and that you hope I have not noticed, that if fully known and fully acknowledged, would cause me to change my posture toward you, would cause me to withdraw, even partially, would change the quality of my attention or my approval, or the depth of my investment in you. It says that the love I offer is real, but that there are limits to it, thresholds of behavior or belief or consistency below which you fall outside its full operation. This lie has shaped so many of your choices in ways you may not have fully recognized. It is the reason you sometimes hold back in prayer, resenting only the version of yourself you think I will find acceptable rather than the full, actual interior of your life. It is the reason you have quietly avoided certain conversations with me, certain honest admissions, because somewhere underneath the theology you have studied and the truths you intellectually accept, there is a residual fear that full honesty might be too much, that if you brought all of it, the confusion, the anger, the doubt, the repeated failures, the secret thoughts, I might not receive it the way you need to be received. I want to confront that lie today with everything I have. There is nothing you could tell me that I do not already know. There is no corner of your history, no chapter you are still ashamed of, no thought that crossed your mind today that surprised me, no impulse you have given into repeatedly despite telling yourself you would stop, no failure that still makes you wessy when you remember it, no long season of distance or doubt or anger toward me that I have not already seen in full. I did not look away from any of it. I saw it all in complete detail with full knowledge, and my love did not flinch. It did not recalculate. It did not find the total too high. It did not discover a category of thing that falls outside its reach. My love decided before time began that you were worth everything, and it has not revised that decision based on anything you have done since. Now I want to speak carefully here because there is important nuance. I am not telling you that your choices do not matter. They do matter. Choices carry weight, and wrong choices have real consequences in your life and in the lives of the people around you. And those consequences are genuine and sometimes very painful. I will not minimize that. But there is a profound difference between saying that your choices have consequences and saying that your choices change whether I love you. They do not change whether I love you. The consequences may be real and they may be hard. The love is constant and unbreakable. These two things exist simultaneously and are not in contradiction. You were not created to earn your way into my presence. You were made to live in it. That distinction is everything, because one posture is exhausting and never quite feels like enough and keeps you at arm's length from the very thing you most need. And the other is rest, real rest, the kind that does not require everything to be resolved or cleaned up or improved before it is available to you. The kind that is accessible to you in the middle of the struggle, not only after it is over. The kind that does not collapse when you make another mistake, but remains because it is grounded not in your performance, but in my character and my choice. I am inviting you into that rest today, not as a reward for having figured everything out, not as something you access once you have made sufficient spiritual progress, as a gift freely given right now for you exactly as you are carrying what you carry. Uncertain about what you are uncertain about, still working through what you are still working through. The invitation does not wait for you to be ready. It simply waits for you to say yes, come and rest. I will hold the things you set down. I have hands large enough for everything you carry. The weight you have been carrying did not all arrive at once. It accumulated slowly, piece by piece, in ways that were almost invisible because each individual addition seemed manageable enough on its own. A responsibility added here, a disappointment quietly absorbed there, a grief folded carefully inside. You, because life did not pause long enough for you to properly sit with it. So you folded it up and stored it and kept moving forward because stopping was not an option. A fear that took up residence and then over time invited related fears. A comparison that lodged somewhere in your heart and grew slowly for years until it had changed how you see yourself in ways you barely noticed happening. Over time, the accumulation became the normal. You stopped noticing how heavy it was because you had been carrying it for so long that the weight began to feel like part of you. You started to confuse the weight with who you are rather than recognizing it as something placed on you or something that grew in you through difficult seasons. But that does not define you and was never meant to be permanent. You started to think the weight was you rather than something you had been asked by life or by others or by your own coping strategies to carry. I know what you are carrying, every specific piece of it, not in a general way, but in the particular way that sees your specific load, your specific history, the specific combination of things that makes your weight unlike anyone else's weight, even if some of the pieces are familiar. And I want to take it from you, not all at once necessarily, though I am capable of that, but in whatever way serves you best, with care, with full knowledge of what the load contains, and no judgment about the fact that it got this heavy, with the attentiveness of someone who sees exactly what needs to be set down and understands precisely what has made setting it down feel impossible. You do not have to carry all of this anymore. This is not a vague spiritual promise delivered without connection to your daily reality. This is an active, present invitation to begin the practice of release. To start today, letting go of the things that were never meant to be yours to hold permanently. The grief that needs to move through you rather than be stored in you indefinitely. The guilt over things that have been genuinely forgiven and are genuinely finished, even when they do not feel finished, and the feeling of them keeps returning. The anxiety about futures that have not arrived and may never arrive in the form your imagination has been rehearsing in your anxious moments. The old stories about who you are and what you are worth and what you are capable of. Stories written by people or experiences that did not and could not see you clearly. None of those things belong to you the way you have been holding them. You have been carrying borrowed weight, adopted narratives, burdens that were placed on you by circumstances or people, or the enemy of your soul, who knows exactly which lies will keep you most effectively held down. Set them down. Bring them to me. Put them in my hands. And when I say set them down, I mean the slow and repetitive practice of returning to me over and over the things that your hands keep reaching for and picking back up, because this is how release actually works in real human life. It is not a single dramatic surrender after which everything is permanently and neatly laid aside. You will bring something to me today and tomorrow, or even an hour from now. You will notice it has come back into your hands. That is not failure. That is not evidence that release is not working. That is the nature of the practice. The daily and sometimes hourly choosing one more time to bring it back to me rather than to carry it alone. Every time you return to me with open hands, I receive what you bring and give back to you the peace that is deeper and more stable than your own ability to manufacture or maintain it. Every single time, without exception. No matter how many times you have had to return with the same thing, no matter how familiar the load has become, no matter how embarrassed you are that you are back again with the same thing you thought you had already dealt with, I receive you every time as if it is the first time, with the same fullness of welcome, the same genuine gladness that you came. Let us practice it today, and then let us practice it again tomorrow, and again the day after that, until it becomes less like effort and more like breathing. Let me speak to you now about the people who are woven into your heart, because your heart carries them, and their weight becomes part of yours in a way that is both beautiful and sometimes overwhelming. There are people you love deeply whom you cannot fix. You see their pain with a clarity that sometimes hurts. You see their choices, and you can trace the arc of where those choices are leading with a certainty that fills you with a kind of helpless grief. You see the slow accumulation of consequence in their lives, and you feel something that is a complicated mixture of helplessness and grief, and something that approaches guilt, as if the depth of your love should somehow translate into the power to rescue, as if the fact that you cannot shift what they are doing or change what they are experiencing is evidence that your love has not been sufficient. Your love is not the same as your power. And that distinction, as simple as it sounds, is one of the most difficult things to actually live inside when someone you deeply care about is struggling in ways you cannot fix. Let me be direct with you about something that I want you to hold carefully. I love the people in your life more than you do. I know that sounds impossible when you consider the depth of what you feel for the people who matter most to you. Your love for them is real, and it is beautiful, and it is costly. It has cost you sleep and peace and a version of yourself that did not carry the worry of watching someone you love make choices that hurt them. But I am capable of a love that is without limit, completely undiminished by anything they have done or anything they are going through, untouched by my own needs or fears or weariness, because I have none of those things. I hold each person you love with that love in ways that your love, for all its genuine beauty and depth, cannot fully replicate, because your love is human and limited, and mine is not. You are not the answer for them. I am. And I want you to hear this, not as something that diminishes your role, but as something that can free you to be what you actually are meant to be in their lives. You are meant to be a person who reflects my love toward them, who stays present when presence is costly, who chooses them repeatedly, even when the choosing is hard and does not appear to be producing results, who offers the irreplaceable human connection that is one of the primary ways I make myself known in the world. You are not supposed to carry them into their healing. You are supposed to love them and entrust what you cannot do to the one who can do what is impossible for you. I know how hard this is in practice. I see you lying awake, thinking about someone who is not making the choices you know would help them, running scenarios in your mind, trying to identify the angle of approach that might finally open something. I see you rehearsing conversations that might shift something, carrying the anxiety of trying to say the right thing at the right moment. I see you placing the same person before me in the same posture of longing and concern, night after night, and wondering whether anything is actually happening on the other side of those prayers. Keep praying. Those prayers are not falling into silence. I hear everyone. I keep everyone, and I am working in places you cannot see, in conversations that have not happened yet, in quiet moments that are coming for that person, when my voice will finally have room to be heard, through means that would genuinely surprise you if I could lay them all out before you now. You do not see the whole field. You see one corner of it. I see everything. Your prayers for the people you love are accomplishing something real. They may not always be accomplishing what you expect or in the timing you want, but they are not wasted, not one of them. And while those prayers are doing their work, release those people into my hands with genuine trust, not as giving up on them, as the act of consciously acknowledging what is already true. The best possible hands for the people you love are not yours. They are mine, and I am more capable of their healing and transformation and redemption than your most faithful and most loving efforts. As genuine and costly as those efforts are, let me have them. Keep loving them. Live in the space between those two actions. That is the sustainable posture for a human heart that loves and cannot control outcomes. There is something I want to say about what you have been afraid of. Not the surface fears, not the ones you could articulate if asked, but the deeper ones that shape your behavior without always presenting themselves clearly enough to examine. The fears that have been operating below the level of conscious recognition. The fear that you will not be enough when the moment comes that requires you to be more than you are. That when the test arrives, the one that matters, you will be found lacking in some essential way. That the gap between who you actually are and who you would need to be will be too wide to bridge. The fear that the love you experience from me and from the people in your life is somehow provisional, somehow suspended on conditions that could shift, that there is a version of you or a scenario in your life that would finally reveal the limit of what others are willing to offer you. The fear that the good things in your life, the things you cherish, the relationships and opportunities and provisions that have come to you are fragile in ways that make them dangerous to fully receive, because receiving them fully would mean opening yourself to the grief of losing them. The fear that time is slipping and the window for certain things is closing, and that by the time you are ready for what you want, you will have missed it. I want to speak into each of these fears today, not to dismiss them as unreasonable. Fears rarely are unreasonable. They arise from real experiences, real losses, real moments when things did not go the way you had hoped or planned. The fears make sense given where they came from, but I want to offer you a different frame through which to hold them. Not a frame that denies their existence, but one that changes what they mean and how much authority they have in your daily life. You will not be alone in the moments that require more than you have. I will be in those moments with you. I have resources that are not limited by your limitations. The gap between what you have and what the moment requires is not a problem for me. It is an invitation for me to show you what I can do. When you stop trying to be sufficient in your own strength and start drawing from mine, the moments of your greatest inadequacy, the ones you fear most, are the moments in which I have historically shown up most powerfully in human lives. Not because I want you to suffer inadequacy, but because it is in those moments that you are most fully positioned to receive what I can give rather than what you can produce. The love you receive from me is not provisional. I have made that clear today, and I want to say it again in this context. There is no version of you and no scenario in your life that reveals the limit of my love for you. There is no threshold you can fall below that places you outside its reach. The love is not based on your performance and therefore cannot be revoked based on your failure. It is based on my character and my choice, and those do not change. The good things in your life are worth receiving fully. I know it is frightening to hold something with both hands when you have experienced loss. I know that the fully open hand is also the hand that feels the sting of something taken.
In the quiet of the morning, where the world fades away, there is a sacred sanctuary prepared specifically for your soul's rest. Every drop of dew and every rustle of the wind is a testament to the peace that awaits you here. I didn't come to judge you. I have been waiting for you at the threshold of this new beginning. You have carried your burdens for so long, walking through the shadows of weariness and heavy-heartedness. Step into the light. Here, the weight you carry is acknowledged with nothing but compassion. Look at the life surrounding you. Even the smallest creature finds its place in this divine harmony. As we walk together along this winding path, feel the earth beneath your feet and the stillness in the air. You are no longer walking alone through the trials of life. Every rhythm of our stride is shared. Take a deep breath. Let the purity of this sanctuary begin to soften the tension you've held so tightly. I came to heal what you've been hiding. The wounds that no one else sees are the ones I wish to touch. Do you see the hope returning to your eyes? Like the morning sun, it rises to chase away the night. Just as this flower responds to a gentle touch, your heart is being restored in this very moment. My love for you is unconditional, ancient, and deep. I see your true self, and it is beautiful. If you are feeling this message, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, because this is your confirmation. This message is for you. This peace is your inheritance. Do not let it pass you by. Watch as the withered parts of your life begin to turn green again, nourished by divine grace. Reach out and touch the life that is being offered to you. The internal storm has finally subsided. There is a vast future ahead of you, filled with infinite possibility and my constant protection. The transformation is complete. You are radiant, reflecting the light that has replaced your darkness. Walk deeper into the heart of this sanctuary. The light will never leave you. Go in peace, for you have been restored. Sometimes the road ahead feels endless, and the weight you carry seems too heavy for one soul to bear. Every step is a struggle against the gravity of despair as the world around you turns to shades of gray. You walk in solitude believing that your sighs are unheard and your exhaustion is seen by no one. The damp air clings to you like the memories of yesterday and the fears of what lies ahead. Even nature seems to pull away, leaving you in a landscape of quiet isolation and shivering branches. You pull your coat tighter, searching for a warmth that the morning sun has yet to provide. A visible breath escapes your lips, a silent prayer whispered into the biting chill of the morning. The rhythm of your footsteps is the only sound in the vast emptiness of the rural path. In the vastness of the world, you feel like a tiny silhouette lost in an oppressive fog. You reach out for something solid to ground you in a world that feels increasingly distant. You thought you were alone, but I was walking beside you every step. I see the road you tread, and I know the weight of the burdens you carry in your heart. Even when you do not look up, my presence is a constant shield against the biting wind. My eyes are filled with kindness, for I have walked the paths of sorrow and known the depth of loneliness. I match your slow steps with grace, ensuring you never have to face the long road by yourself. I am the unseen strength in your weakness and the quiet comfort in your deepest grief. The tension of the day begins to fade as a hidden peace begins to wash over your weary spirit. I look forward to the path of your future, guiding you toward a light you cannot yet see. Every glance I cast your way is a testament to my enduring love and deep empathy for your journey. We walk together through the rustling leaves and the shifting winds of this life. Suddenly the shadows flee as the first golden rays of dawn pierce through the canopy of your doubts. The heavy sadness in your eyes gives way to a flicker of hope and a profound inner quiet. Transformation is happening all around you as the cold gray world is touched by divine warmth. Your posture rises as your soul recognizes the one who has been with you through the night. Look up to the horizon and see the new day I have prepared for you. Walk into the light knowing that you are never alone, for I am with you always. I was there in your lowest moment, when no one else understood, when the world felt like it was closing in on you. The silence of the evening reflects the stillness of a heart that has forgotten how to hope. You feel isolated, adrift in a sea of grief. You carry a burden that seems too heavy for any soul to bear. The weight of every tear, every unspoken word, and every broken dream. Your eyes search the horizon for an answer, but all you see is the fading light. The internal storm rages, contrasting the river's external peace. Then comes the breaking point, the moment when the walls finally crumble, and the pain you've hidden can no longer be contained. Your shoulders shake with the force of soundless sobs. The river continues its relentless flow, a symbol of time passing while you remain frozen. But even in this deep isolation, you are not as alone as you believe. A presence is approaching, steady and calm, across the soft grass. He does not rush your healing. He understands that some wounds require time, silence, and a witness who truly cares. He sits beside you, not to offer quick words or easy comfort, but to simply be there, to share the weight of your sorrow. In the sacred silence, a bridge is built, a bridge between your brokenness and his wholeness. He waits for the perfect moment to reach out. And then, a touch, a hand that has known suffering, yet carries the power to heal all things. A gesture of infinite empathy. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. The sharp edges of your agony begin to soften. You take a long, deep, shaky breath, sensing a change within. You lower your hands and see the world through tear-streaked eyes, but the darkness no longer feels so absolute. You feel the warmth of his presence. You turn to him, and in his eyes, you find an understanding that goes beyond words. A gaze that says, "I have always been here." The river behind you begins to glow, reflecting the rising moon. The flow of the water now feels like a cleansing stream, carrying away the debris. Healing is not a destination, but a journey. And on this journey, you are never truly alone. The peace you sought has found you. Rest now in this promise. I was there, I am here, and I will be there for every step of your restoration. The earth was weary, and the soul felt the weight of 1,000 silent years pressing down upon the spirit. Every finger trace in the dust was a prayer for rest, a desperate reaching for a foundation that seemed long gone. Isolated in a vast emptiness, the traveler bowed beneath the heavy mantle of his own exhaustion. Yet, even in the depths of fatigue, a small spark of will forced the gaze upward once more. The eyes, clouded by the haze of a long journey, searched for a sign in the heat of the day. Nothing but the silence of the wilderness answered his call, stretching out in every direction. He scanned the distance, seeking meaning in the shimmering heat and the shifting sands of his life. Breath came in shallow gasps, as dry as the air that surrounded his parched soul. The sky offered no shadow, only the relentless glare of the sun that seemed to judge his every step. But then, a subtle movement stirred the stillness, a breath of air that felt different from the rest. The choking dust of despair began to settle, revealing a clarity that had been hidden for years. The harsh blues of the desert shifted, replaced by a warmth that did not burn but healed. Life, long thought dead in this wasteland, began to stir in response to an unseen presence. Ancient memories of peace became as clear as the horizon, sharpening before his very eyes. He felt it first in his spirit, a change in the atmosphere that spoke of grace and invitation. The lines of worry on his face began to soften, yielding to a peace he could not yet explain. Above him, the heavens themselves seemed to open, pouring out a light that felt like home. The barren ground responded with joy, blooming with colors that defied the drought. For the first time in a lifetime, the air was sweet, and the burden was lifted from his heart. The trembling ceased, the struggle ended. He was no longer fighting the world alone. Something drew his gaze, a quiet beckoning that compelled him to look toward the light. Across the vibrant garden that had appeared, his eyes found what they had always been searching for. There, sitting in the stillness of the transformation, was the shepherd of his soul. He sat as if he had been waiting since the beginning of time, draped in the glow of the eternal. Recognition flooded the seeker's heart, more certain than any truth he had ever known. The confusion of the journey vanished in an instant, replaced by a quiet, holy stillness. The master turned, and in that movement, the world seemed to hold its breath. Eyes met eyes, and in that gaze, every hidden hurt was seen and understood. A smile of unconditional love greeted the weary man, a silent promise that he was cherished. No words were needed. The silence between them was a conversation of the spirit. The light was not just around him, it was part of him, a purity that washed over everything. The seeker looked on, his tears of sorrow turning into tears of profound relief. A new spark of hope ignited within, brighter than the sun that had once scorched him. Those hands that held the universe now offered a gentle peace to one lonely heart. Together they sat, where the earthly met the divine, in a garden of infinite grace. The sunset over the mountains was no longer an end, but a glorious new beginning. Every drop of grief was washed away by the presence of the one who knew him best. Nature itself sang in harmony with the awakening of his soul, vibrant and full of life. In the center of this new world, the traveler found his home and his purpose. You didn't need proof. The very wind whispered the truth of this encounter to the trees and the mountains. The bond forged in silence was stronger than any word spoken by man. The golden aura of heaven descended, wrapping them in a light that would never fade. Your heart already knew I was there. And in that light, he was finally whole, finally at peace, finally home. God says, I saw you when you almost gave up. I saw you in the early morning light, sitting in that dimly lit room, holding your head in your hands as the weight of the world pressed down upon you. The morning sun was trying to peek through the frost-patterned window, but to you, it felt like another day of struggle you weren't ready to face. I saw the exhaustion in your posture, and the way the silence of the room felt heavy and suffocating. You were at the end of your strength, feeling as though every ounce of hope had been drained away by the pressures of a life that demanded too much. I looked at the desk where your life seemed to be unraveling. I saw the messy pile of unpaid bills that felt like mountains you could never climb. I saw the overflowing ashtray and the empty coffee mugs, the remnants of a night spent searching for answers that wouldn't come. Your phone screen glowed with missed calls, each one a reminder of a responsibility or a conflict you didn't have the energy to address. To the world, it was just a messy desk, but to me, it was a map of the burdens you were carrying all by yourself, a testament to the stress that was overwhelming your spirit. I saw your face, truly saw it. I saw the redness in your eyes from the sleepless night and the paleness of your skin that spoke of deep inner fatigue. Every heavy breath you took was a silent plea for help that you didn't even have the words to speak. Your heart was racing with anxiety, yet your body felt paralyzed by the sheer volume of your worries. In that extreme moment of isolation, the world outside continued to move, but inside your soul, time had frozen under the weight of a sorrow that felt too massive for one person to bear. You felt submerged in silence, lost in the shadows of your own mind. I watched as you stared blankly into the corners of the room, your thoughts spinning in circles with no way out. The atmosphere was thick with the weight of things left unsaid and problems left unsolved. In those moments, the silence isn't peaceful. It's a heavy, drowning force. You were drifting further and further from the shore of hope, feeling the cold water of despair rising up to meet you, wondering if anyone in the entire universe knew exactly how much you were hurting right then. The isolation of that room felt like a physical barrier between you and the rest of humanity. Long, dramatic shadows stretched across the floor, mimicking the way your fears were stretching across your future. You felt like a small island in a vast, dark ocean, completely alone in a world that seemed cold and indifferent to your pain. But I want you to know that even in that profound solitude, you were being watched with a love that never sleeps. The shadows may have looked long, but they were not the whole story of your life. Then came the moment of near surrender. I saw you lean back, your eyes closing for a brief second, as if to shut out the reality of your situation. And then a single tear escaped. It wasn't just water. It was the overflow of a heart that could no longer contain its grief. That tear captured the moment you felt like giving up, the moment the light seemed to go out entirely. It was a silent confession that you couldn't do this anymore on your own. A moment of vulnerability that was more powerful than you could ever imagine. Your hands, once strong and capable, were trembling as you picked up one of those crumpled bills. You looked at it, and for a second, the reality of your burdens felt so heavy that your fingers simply gave way. I watched that paper fall back to the table, a small symbol of your defeat. You felt as though you had failed, as though the world had won and you had lost. But what you saw as the end was actually the beginning of a different path, one where you wouldn't have to carry the weight by your own strength alone. But in that very moment of darkness, I was there. I appeared behind you, not as a distant judge, but as a sacred companion. I came in a form you could understand, wearing garments of white and soft gold that held the texture of eternity. I didn't come with a blinding, artificial light, but with a presence that hummed with a deep and ancient peace. Even though you couldn't see me yet, my presence began to fill the corners of that cold room, bringing a warmth that the sun alone could never provide to a frozen heart. I stood there, watching you with a soul full of compassion. My expression was one of gentle understanding, for I have known every sorrow and felt every pain that has ever touched a human heart. I didn't interrupt your moment of grief or demand that you stop crying. I simply stood by you, being present in your pain, as if I had been there from the very first moment you felt a heavy heart. My peace was a shield around you, even if you weren't yet aware of the grace that was standing just a breath away. I reached out my hand, hovering it just above you as if to offer a blessing. I didn't rush to fix everything in an instant because I respect the journey of your soul. I remained still, holding a space of love for you to step into when you are ready. That hand has carried the weight of the cross, and now it was ready to carry the weight of your worries. I was not there to judge the clutter of your life or the depth of your despair. I was there to offer a hand that would eventually lift you up from the ashes. Look at the contrast between the shadows you were living in and the light I brought with me. In the foreground, there was the darkness of your struggle, the cold blue of the early morning, and the gray of your exhaustion. But behind you, there was a glow of warmth and gold. This is the truth of your life. The shadows are real, but they are always surrounded by a light that is even more real. My presence was the bridge between the night you had just endured and the new day that was about to break in your spirit. And then something began to shift deep inside you. You didn't see me, but your spirit felt the change. I watched as your posture slowly began to relax. The tension that had held your shoulders tight for so long started to drop away. Your breathing, which had been heavy and labored, began to calm and find a steady rhythm. You were beginning to sense that the atmosphere in the room had changed, that you were no longer alone in the dark. It was a silent, internal shift, a surrender not to despair, but to a peace that surpasses understanding. The lighting in your room started to change, reflecting the hope that was rising in your heart. The cold blue light of the morning shifted subtly into something warmer, richer, and more golden. It was as if the sun had finally broken through the frost on the window, flooding the space with a divine glow. This light didn't just illuminate the room. It illuminated the path forward. The mess on the desk didn't disappear, but in this new light, it no longer looked like an impossible mountain. It looked like something we could handle together, step by step. I saw you look toward the window. In your tired eyes, I saw a small flicker of hope return. It was like a tiny spark in the darkness, a realization that the night was over, and a new day had actually arrived. You weren't the same person who had sat down in that chair hours ago. You had been touched by a presence that reminded you of your worth and your strength. That flicker of hope was the first sign of your healing, a promise that the heavy burdens you carried would not have the final word in your story. The camera panned up to my face, and I smiled at you with infinite kindness. I wanted you to know that you are loved beyond measure, and that your life is precious to me. My smile was a benediction, a sign of my eternal companionship. I have seen your struggles, I have heard your silent cries, and I have stayed by your side through it all. You are never, ever truly alone. Whenever you feel the weight of the world returning, remember this moment and the kindness that is always watching over you, ready to offer rest. As the scene fades out, I want you to carry this peace with you. Let it be a lingering presence in your heart, a reminder that companionship is always available, and hope is never truly gone. You have walked through the valley of the shadow, but you have found a friend in the darkness. Go forward now with a lighter heart, knowing that the God who saw you when you almost gave up is the same God who will lead you into the light of a beautiful new beginning. Rest in my peace, for I am with you always.
My child, I know you are tired, not just physically tired, but tired in a way that reaches deep into your soul. The kind of tired that sleep cannot fix. The kind that comes from carrying too much for too long. You have been holding things together, even when you felt like falling apart. You have been showing up, even when your heart was heavy. You have been smiling, even when you were hurting inside. And I want you to hear this clearly today. I see you. I see the effort no one else notices. I see the strength you don't give yourself credit for. I see the way you keep going, even when it feels like too much. And I am proud of you. Not because everything is perfect, but because you did not give up. There were moments when you wanted to walk away. Moments when you questioned whether it was worth it. Moments when the weight felt unbearable, but you stayed. And that matters more than you realize. If this message is speaking to you, pause for a second and like this video and subscribe to the channel. You are not here by accident. God is guiding you. Now listen. The struggle you are in right now is not wasted. It is not meaningless. It is shaping you into someone stronger than before. You may not feel strong, but you are becoming strong. You may not see progress, but you are moving forward. You may feel stuck, but I am working. Even in the silence, I am working. Even in the waiting, I am working. Even in the confusion, I am working. And what I am doing right now is deeper than what you can see on the surface. I am healing things inside you that needed healing. I am removing things that were not meant to stay. I am preparing you for something that requires a different level of faith, a different level of strength, a different level of trust. So do not rush this season. Do not compare your journey with anyone else. Do not let doubt convince you that nothing is happening, because something is happening. Something is shifting. Something is aligning. And very soon, you will see it. If you believe God is strengthening you, write Amen in the comments. Declare your faith and subscribe for more powerful messages like this.
My beloved child, I see you even in the moments when you feel unseen. I have watched the silent battles you fight when no one is around, the tears you wipe away before anyone notices. And I have seen the weight you carry that no one truly understands. You thought I was distant, but I have been closer than your breath, walking beside you in every step of your pain. There were nights when your heart felt heavy and your mind would not rest, and yet I was there, sitting with you in that silence, holding you together when you felt like breaking. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are deeply known and completely loved. You have been walking through a season that feels like a desert, dry, exhausting, and endless. But what you do not see is that even in this desert, I am working. I am strengthening you, shaping you, preparing you for something greater than you imagine. The delays you are experiencing are not denial, they are preparation. The silence you feel is not absence, it is divine timing. Every tear you have cried has been counted. Every prayer you whispered has been heard. Before we go deeper, if you feel this message is speaking to your heart, take a moment to like this video and subscribe. You are not here by accident. God brought you here for a reason. There is something powerful happening behind the scenes of your life. Doors are being aligned and people are being positioned. Answers are being prepared in ways you cannot yet see. Do not give up now. You are closer than you think. What you have been praying for is already on its way, and when it arrives, you will understand why it took time. Let go of the fear that tells you nothing will change. Let go of the doubt that whispers you are not enough. I did not create you to struggle endlessly. I created you to rise, to overcome, to walk in purpose. And even now, I am restoring what you thought was lost. Your story is not ending in pain. It is transforming into victory. If this message touched your heart, type Amen in the comments as your declaration of faith. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss what God wants to speak into your life.
My child, what you are feeling right now, I understand it completely. The confusion, the heaviness, the quiet questions that keep rising inside your mind when everything slows down. You are trying to make sense of things that don't seem to fit together. You are trying to understand why certain doors closed, why certain people changed, why certain plans did not unfold the way you expected. And the hardest part is, you did everything right. You prayed, you believed, you stayed faithful, and yet things still did not go the way you thought they would. That has been difficult for you, because it made you question not just the situation, but yourself. You wondered, did I miss something? Did I do something wrong? Did I misunderstand what God was doing? Let me answer you clearly. No, you did not miss it. You did not ruin it. You did not fall behind. What happened was part of a redirection, not a rejection. There is a difference. Rejection removes you from something permanently. Redirection moves you toward something better. And right now, you are being redirected, even though it does not feel like it yet. Because when something ends unexpectedly, it feels like loss. But this space is sacred, because this is where I reset things. This is where I realign things. This is where I prepare you for something new, something better, something more aligned with your purpose. Do not rush out of this space. Do not try to force clarity. Do not try to rebuild what I have already removed. If you trust that God is redirecting your life for something better, comment Amen below and subscribe for more messages that strengthen your faith.
But that is not who you are. You are not the version of yourself that this difficult season tried to shape through pressure. You are not defined by what didn't work, by what didn't come, by who didn't stay, or by how long it has taken. God says, I saw you when you almost gave up. I saw you in the early morning light, sitting in that dimly lit room, holding your head in your hands as the weight of the world pressed down upon you. The morning sun was trying to peek through the frost-patterned window, but to you, it felt like another day of struggle you weren't ready to face. I saw the exhaustion in your posture, and the way the silence of the room felt heavy and suffocating. You were at the end of your strength, feeling as though every ounce of hope had been drained away by the pressures of a life that demanded too much. I looked at the desk where your life seemed to be unraveling. I saw the messy pile of unpaid bills that felt like mountains you could never climb. I saw the overflowing ashtray and the empty coffee mugs, the remnants of a night spent searching for answers that wouldn't come. Your phone screen glowed with missed calls, each one a reminder of a responsibility or a conflict you didn't have the energy to address. To the world, it was just a messy desk, but to me, it was a map of the burdens you were carrying all by yourself, a testament to the stress that was overwhelming your spirit. I saw your face, truly saw it. I saw the redness in your eyes from the sleepless night and the paleness of your skin that spoke of deep inner fatigue. Every heavy breath you took was a silent plea for help that you didn't even have the words to speak. Your heart was racing with anxiety, yet your body felt paralyzed by the sheer volume of your worries. In that extreme moment of isolation, the world outside continued to move, but inside your soul, time had frozen under the weight of a sorrow that felt too massive for one person to bear. You felt submerged in silence, lost in the shadows of your own mind. I watched as you stared blankly into the corners of the room, your thoughts spinning in circles with no way out. The atmosphere was thick with the weight of things left unsaid and problems left unsolved. In those moments, the silence isn't peaceful. It's a heavy, drowning force. You were drifting further and further from the shore of hope, feeling the cold water of despair rising up to meet you, wondering if anyone in the entire universe knew exactly how much you were hurting right then. The isolation of that room felt like a physical barrier between you and the rest of humanity. Long, dramatic shadows stretched across the floor, mimicking the way your fears were stretching across your future. You felt like a small island in a vast, dark ocean, completely alone in a world that seemed cold and indifferent to your pain. But I want you to know that even in that profound solitude, you were being watched with a love that never sleeps. The shadows may have looked long, but they were not the whole story of your life. Then came the moment of near surrender. I saw you lean back, your eyes closing for a brief second, as if to shut out the reality of your situation. And then a single tear escaped. It wasn't just water. It was the overflow of a heart that could no longer contain its grief. That tear captured the moment you felt like giving up, the moment the light seemed to go out entirely. It was a silent confession that you couldn't do this anymore on your own. A moment of vulnerability that was more powerful than you could ever imagine. Your hands, once strong and capable, were trembling as you picked up one of those crumpled bills. You looked at it, and for a second, the reality of your burdens felt so heavy that your fingers simply gave way. I watched that paper fall back to the table, a small symbol of your defeat. You felt as though you had failed, as though the world had won and you had lost. But what you saw as the end was actually the beginning of a different path, one where you wouldn't have to carry the weight by your own strength alone. But in that very moment of darkness, I was there. I appeared behind you, not as a distant judge, but as a sacred companion. I came in a form you could understand, wearing garments of white and soft gold that held the texture of eternity. I didn't come with a blinding, artificial light, but with a presence that hummed with a deep and ancient peace. Even though you couldn't see me yet, my presence began to fill the corners of that cold room, bringing a warmth that the sun alone could never provide to a frozen heart. I stood there, watching you with a soul full of compassion. My expression was one of gentle understanding, for I have known every sorrow and felt every pain that has ever touched a human heart. I didn't interrupt your moment of grief or demand that you stop crying. I simply stood by you, being present in your pain, as if I had been there from the very first moment you felt a heavy heart. My peace was a shield around you, even if you weren't yet aware of the grace that was standing just a breath away. I reached out my hand, hovering it just above you as if to offer a blessing. I didn't rush to fix everything in an instant because I respect the journey of your soul. I remained still, holding a space of love for you to step into when you are ready. That hand has carried the weight of the cross, and now it was ready to carry the weight of your worries. I was not there to judge the clutter of your life or the depth of your despair. I was there to offer a hand that would eventually lift you up from the ashes. Look at the contrast between the shadows you were living in and the light I brought with me. In the foreground, there was the darkness of your struggle, the cold blue of the early morning, and the gray of your exhaustion. But behind you, there was a glow of warmth and gold. This is the truth of your life. The shadows are real, but they are always surrounded by a light that is even more real. My presence was the bridge between the night you had just endured and the new day that was about to break in your spirit. And then something began to shift deep inside you. You didn't see me, but your spirit felt the change. I watched as your posture slowly began to relax. The tension that had held your shoulders tight for so long started to drop away. Your breathing, which had been heavy and labored, began to calm and find a steady rhythm. You were beginning to sense that the atmosphere in the room had changed, that you were no longer alone in the dark. It was a silent, internal shift, a surrender not to despair, but to a peace that surpasses understanding. The lighting in your room started to change, reflecting the hope that was rising in your heart. The cold blue light of the morning shifted subtly into something warmer, richer, and more golden. It was as if the sun had finally broken through the frost on the window, flooding the space with a divine glow. This light didn't just illuminate the room. It illuminated the path forward. The mess on the desk didn't disappear, but in this new light, it no longer looked like an impossible mountain. It looked like something we could handle together, step by step. I saw you look toward the window. In your tired eyes, I saw a small flicker of hope return. It was like a tiny spark in the darkness, a realization that the night was over and a new day had actually arrived. You weren't the same person who had sat down in that chair hours ago. You had been touched by a presence that reminded you of your worth and your strength. That flicker of hope was the first sign of your healing, a promise that the heavy burdens you carried would not have the final word in your story. The camera panned up to my face, and I smiled at you with infinite kindness. I wanted you to know that you are loved beyond measure, and that your life is precious to me. My smile was a benediction, a sign of my eternal companionship. I have seen your struggles, I have heard your silent cries, and I have stayed by your side through it all. You are never, ever truly alone. Whenever you feel the weight of the world returning, remember this moment and the kindness that is always watching over you, ready to offer rest. As the scene fades out, I want you to carry this peace with you. Let it be a lingering presence in your heart, a reminder that companionship is always available, and hope is never truly gone. You have walked through the valley of the shadow, but you have found a friend in the darkness. Go forward now with a lighter heart, knowing that the God who saw you when you almost gave up is the same God who will lead you into the light of a beautiful new beginning. Rest in my peace, for I am with you always. Sometimes the road ahead feels endless, and the weight you carry seems too heavy for one soul to bear. Every step is a struggle against the gravity of despair as the world around you turns to shades of gray. You walk in solitude believing that your sighs are unheard and your exhaustion is seen by no one. The damp air clings to you like the memories of yesterday and the fears of what lies ahead. Even nature seems to pull away, leaving you in a landscape of quiet isolation and shivering branches. You pull your coat tighter, searching for a warmth that the morning sun has yet to provide. A visible breath escapes your lips, a silent prayer, whispered into the biting chill of the morning. The rhythm of your footsteps is the only sound in the vast emptiness of the rural path. In the vastness of the world, you feel like a tiny silhouette, lost in an oppressive fog. You reach out for something solid to ground you in a world that feels increasingly distant. You thought you were alone, but I was walking beside you every step. I see the road you tread, and I know the weight of the burdens you carry in your heart. Even when you do not look up, my presence is a constant shield against the biting wind. My eyes are filled with kindness, for I have walked the paths of sorrow and known the depth of loneliness. I match your slow steps with grace, ensuring you never have to face the long road by yourself. I am the unseen strength in your weakness and the quiet comfort in your deepest grief. The tension of the day begins to fade as a hidden peace begins to wash over your weary spirit. I look forward to the path of your future, guiding you toward a light you cannot yet see. Every glance I cast your way is a testament to my enduring love and deep empathy for your journey. We walk together through the rustling leaves and the shifting winds of this life. Suddenly the shadows flee as the first golden rays of dawn pierce through the canopy of your doubts. The heavy sadness in your eyes gives way to a flicker of hope and a profound inner quiet. Transformation is happening all around you as the cold gray world is touched by divine warmth. Your posture rises as your soul recognizes the one who has been with you through the night. Look up to the horizon and see the new day I have prepared for you. Walk into the light knowing that you are never alone, for I am with you always. I was there in your lowest moment, when no one else understood, when the world felt like it was closing in on you. The silence of the evening reflects the stillness of a heart that has forgotten how to hope. You feel isolated, adrift in a sea of grief. You carry a burden that seems too heavy for any soul to bear. The weight of every tear, every unspoken word, and every broken dream. Your eyes search the horizon for an answer, but all you see is the fading light. The internal storm rages, contrasting the river's external peace. Then comes the breaking point, the moment when the walls finally crumble, and the pain you've hidden can no longer be contained. Your shoulders shake with the force of soundless sobs. The river continues its relentless flow, a symbol of time passing while you remain frozen. But even in this deep isolation, you are not as alone as you believe. A presence is approaching, steady and calm, across the soft grass. He does not rush your healing. He understands that some wounds require time, silence, and a witness who truly cares. He sits beside you, not to offer quick words or easy comfort, but to simply be there, to share the weight of your sorrow. In the sacred silence, a bridge is built, a bridge between your brokenness and his wholeness. He waits for the perfect moment to reach out. And then, a touch, a hand that has known suffering, yet carries the power to heal all things. A gesture of infinite empathy. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. The sharp edges of your agony begin to soften. You take a long, deep, shaky breath, sensing a change within. You lower your hands and see the world through tear-streaked eyes, but the darkness no longer feels so absolute. You feel the warmth of his presence. You turn to him, and in his eyes, you find an understanding that goes beyond words. A gaze that says, I have always been here. The river behind you begins to glow, reflecting the rising moon. The flow of the water now feels like a cleansing stream, carrying away the debris. Healing is not a destination, but a journey. And on this journey, you are never truly alone. The peace you sought has found you. Rest now in this promise. I was there, I am here, and I will be there for every step of your restoration. The earth was weary, and the soul felt the weight of 1,000 silent years pressing down upon the spirit. Every finger trace in the dust was a prayer for rest, a desperate reaching for a foundation that seemed long gone. Isolated in a vast emptiness, The traveler bowed beneath the heavy mantle of his own exhaustion. Yet, even in the depths of fatigue, a small spark of will forced the gaze upward once more. The eyes, clouded by the haze of a long journey, searched for a sign in the heat of the day. Nothing but the silence of the wilderness answered his call, stretching out in every direction. He scanned the distance, seeking meaning in the shimmering heat and the shifting sands of his life. Breath came in shallow gasps, as dry as the air that surrounded his parched soul. The sky offered no shadow, only the relentless glare of the sun that seemed to judge his every step. But then, a subtle movement stirred the stillness, a breath of air that felt different from the rest. The choking dust of despair began to settle, revealing a clarity that had been hidden for years. The harsh blues of the desert shifted, replaced by a warmth that did not burn but healed. Life, long thought dead in this wasteland, began to stir in response to an unseen presence. Ancient memories of peace became as clear as the horizon, sharpening before his very eyes. He felt it first in his spirit, a change in the atmosphere that spoke of grace and invitation. The lines of worry on his face began to soften, yielding to a peace he could not yet explain. Above him, the heavens themselves seemed to open, pouring out a light that felt like home. The barren ground responded with joy, blooming with colors that defied the drought. For the first time in a lifetime, the air was sweet, and the burden was lifted from his heart. The trembling ceased, the struggle ended. He was no longer fighting the world alone. Something drew his gaze, a quiet beckoning that compelled him to look toward the light. Across the vibrant garden that had appeared, his eyes found what they had always been searching for. There, sitting in the stillness of the transformation, was the shepherd of his soul. He sat as if he had been waiting since the beginning of time, draped in the glow of the eternal. Recognition flooded the seeker's heart, more certain than any truth he had ever known. The confusion of the journey vanished in an instant, replaced by a quiet, holy stillness. The master turned, and in that movement, the world seemed to hold its breath. Eyes met eyes, and in that gaze, every hidden hurt was seen and understood. A smile of unconditional love greeted the weary man, a silent promise that he was cherished. No words were needed. The silence between them was a conversation of the spirit. The light was not just around him, it was part of him, a purity that washed over everything. The seeker looked on, his tears of sorrow turning into tears of profound relief. A new spark of hope ignited within, brighter than the sun that had once scorched him. Those hands that held the universe now offered a gentle peace to one lonely heart. Together they sat, where the earthly met the divine, in a garden of infinite grace. The sunset over the mountains was no longer an end, but a glorious new beginning. Every drop of grief was washed away by the presence of the one who knew him best. Nature itself sang in harmony with the awakening of his soul, vibrant and full of life. In the center of this new world, the traveler found his home and his purpose. You didn't need proof. The very wind whispered the truth of this encounter to the trees and the mountains. The bond forged in silence was stronger than any word spoken by man. The golden aura of heaven descended, wrapping them in a light that would never fade. Your heart already knew I was there. And in that light, he was finally whole, finally at peace, finally home. In the quiet of the morning, where the world fades away, there is a sacred sanctuary prepared specifically for your soul's rest. Every drop of dew and every rustle of the wind is a testament to the peace that awaits you here. I didn't come to judge you. I have been waiting for you at the threshold of this new beginning. You have carried your burdens for so long, walking through the shadows of weariness and heavy-heartedness. Step into the light. Here, the weight you carry is acknowledged with nothing but compassion. Look at the life surrounding you. Even the smallest creature finds its place in this divine harmony. As we walk together along this winding path, feel the earth beneath your feet and the stillness in the air. You are no longer walking alone through the trials of life. Every rhythm of our stride is shared. Take a deep breath. Let the purity of this sanctuary begin to soften the tension you've held so tightly. I came to heal what you've been hiding. The wounds that no one else sees are the ones I wish to touch. Do you see the hope returning to your eyes? Like the morning sun, it rises to chase away the night. Just as this flower responds to a gentle touch, your heart is being restored in this very moment. My love for you is unconditional, ancient, and deep. I see your true self, and it is beautiful. If you are feeling this message, take a moment to like this video and subscribe, because this is your confirmation. This message is for you. This peace is your inheritance. Do not let it pass you by. Watch as the withered parts of your life begin to turn green again, nourished by divine grace. Reach out and touch the life that is being offered to you. The internal storm has finally subsided. There is a vast future ahead of you, filled with infinite possibility and my constant protection. The transformation is complete. You are radiant, reflecting the light that has replaced your darkness. Walk deeper into the heart of this sanctuary. The light will never leave you. Go in peace, for you have been restored. Chosen one, God is about to send unexpected wealth your way. Chosen one, listen closely with an open and humble heart, because what is unfolding around your life in this very season carries a weight of glory that you cannot afford to ignore. And if you turn away now, you may miss the very moment that heaven has appointed to shift your story forever. God is about to release unexpected wealth into your hands. And this wealth is not only about money, but about divine provision, restored opportunities, healed relationships, and doors opening where walls once stood firm and cold. There is a movement happening in the spiritual realm that is aligning people, resources, favor, and timing in ways you could never arrange on your own strength or wisdom. Type Amen if you believe. You have walked through seasons of quiet endurance, nights of silent tears, and days when you felt overlooked and underestimated. Yet through it all, the hand of God has remained steady upon your life, guarding you from dangers you never saw and protecting seeds you planted in faith. This unexpected wealth is not a random event or a coincidence drifting through your timeline, but a carefully prepared blessing that has been shaped through every trial you survived and every prayer you whispered when no one else understood your struggle. Heaven has not forgotten your generosity, your obedience, or your refusal to give up when giving up seemed easier than believing for more. There is a reason your spirit feels stirred and your heart feels awakened right now, because God is preparing you to step into increase that will surprise even those who doubted your path and misunderstood your quiet strength. This is the moment to lean in with expectation and gratitude, because divine provision often arrives suddenly after long seasons of waiting and unseen preparation. If this word is touching your heart and giving you hope, take a second to like this video as a simple act of faith that you are ready to receive what God is about to release into your life. Unexpected wealth from God carries peace with it, not anxiety. And it brings clarity instead of confusion, because what He gives does not add sorrow, but brings stability and purpose into every area it touches. You may have experienced financial lack, emotional drought, or seasons where every effort seemed to return empty. Yet those seasons were shaping your character so that you could handle abundance with humility and wisdom. God does not send increase into hands that are unprepared. And the very delays that once frustrated you are actually divine training grounds for stewardship and gratitude. The wealth that is coming is aligned with your calling, and it will not distract you from your purpose, but strengthen your ability to walk in it fully. Type 11 if you trust in God. There were moments when you questioned whether your sacrifices were seen, whether your faithfulness mattered, and whether your quiet obedience made any difference in a loud and demanding world. Yet God was writing a story behind the scenes that required patience before manifestation. He was removing hidden obstacles, redirecting harmful connections, and preserving opportunities that would bloom at the exact appointed time. What felt like rejection was often redirection, and what felt like loss was often protection from paths that would have drained your future. Now the same God who carried you through scarcity is preparing to introduce you to surplus that will not corrupt your heart, but deepen your gratitude. This unexpected wealth may come through a new opportunity, a creative idea that prospers, a connection that opens a door, or a sudden turnaround in circumstances that once seemed permanently stuck. Yet, however it arrives, you will recognize the fingerprint of God upon it. It will feel different from past chances that brought stress and uncertainty, because this time there will be a quiet assurance in your spirit that says this is ordained and blessed. You will sense alignment instead of striving, and peace instead of pressure, because divine increase flows with grace rather than force. The blessing will not only change your bank account, but transform your confidence, reminding you that you are deeply loved and intentionally chosen. God is not sending wealth to elevate your ego, but to expand your impact, because what He places in your hands is meant to flow through you into the lives of others who are praying for relief and breakthrough. You will become a channel of generosity, a source of encouragement, and a living testimony that faithfulness through hardship is never wasted in the kingdom of God. The increase will allow you to support dreams, bless your family, and stand firm without fear when unexpected expenses arise. This is restoration for seasons where you felt behind, overlooked, or delayed while others seemed to advance ahead of you. The path that led you here was not accidental, and every closed door that once hurt your heart was guiding you toward a greater and more secure future than you could have imagined at the time. God saw the times you gave even when you had little, the moments you encouraged others while carrying your own hidden burdens, and the days you chose integrity over shortcuts that might have brought quick gain but long regret. Because of that faithfulness, He is about to entrust you with resources that reflect His trust in your heart. This wealth will not own you because you have learned to depend on God rather than on possessions. Hold your heart steady and your spirit open, because when the blessing arrives, it may feel overwhelming at first, like a sudden sunrise after a long night of darkness. Yet it will confirm that every tear and every prayer was part of a greater design. God often prepares the ground long before the harvest appears, softening hearts, aligning conversations, and positioning you exactly where favor can find you without strain or struggle. What once felt delayed is now being accelerated by unseen hands. And what once seemed distant is being drawn near with purpose and precision. The wealth that is coming will not crash into your life with chaos, but it will unfold with a steady rhythm that confirms God Himself is leading the way. There will be moments when you look back and realize that certain disappointments were necessary closures, because they prevented you from attaching your hope to sources that could never sustain you long term. God was protecting your future stability by allowing temporary discomfort, and He was teaching you that true security flows from Him rather than from unstable systems or unreliable people. This new season will carry a different atmosphere, one filled with assurance rather than fear, and confidence rather than desperation. The unexpected wealth will feel like a gentle but powerful confirmation that your obedience during hidden seasons has not been overlooked. You have grown stronger in ways you did not even notice, because trials refined your patience and stretched your faith beyond comfort. There were nights when you felt tired of believing, yet you continued trusting God even when visible results were nowhere in sight. That quiet endurance became spiritual capital stored up in heaven's account, waiting for the appointed time of release. Now the return on that faith is approaching, and it will overflow in ways that restore your sense of dignity and hope. The wealth that is coming will not isolate you from others, but it will position you to bless and uplift those who once stood beside you during your difficult days. God is shaping you into a wise steward, Someone who understands that prosperity is not only about possession, but about purpose. You will feel a new desire to use what you receive to create stability for your household and encouragement for your community. Type 2323 if you agree. This agreement is not about hype or excitement alone, but about aligning your heart with the truth that God delights in rewarding faithful trust. As resources begin to flow, you will sense a deeper responsibility to manage them with wisdom, because divine increase carries divine accountability. The same humility that carried you through lack must remain present in abundance, ensuring that gratitude never fades into pride. God is not just increasing your income, but enlarging your capacity to handle responsibility with grace. There may be a moment when the blessing arrives so suddenly that it feels almost unreal, as if the weight of previous struggle dissolves in a single breakthrough. Do not allow doubt to whisper that it is too good to last, because what God establishes is sustained by His power rather than by human effort alone. Receive it calmly, steward it carefully, and remember that this provision is evidence of a loving Father who has watched over you through every chapter. Your story is being rewritten with stability, replacing uncertainty, and confidence replacing hesitation. This season will also bring emotional wealth, a richness of peace that quiets old fears and heals wounds created by past financial strain. When money is tight, the heart often carries hidden anxiety. Yet, God is lifting that burden and replacing it with assurance that you are supported and guided. The unexpected wealth will restore more than numbers in an account, because it will restore your ability to plan without fear and dream without restraint. You will find yourself thinking differently about the future, no longer shrinking your hopes to match your previous limitations. Relationships may shift as well, because increase often reveals true intentions and real loyalties. Some people will celebrate your blessing with genuine joy, while others may struggle to understand your transformation. Remain grounded in love and do not allow bitterness or pride to take root, because the heart that stays soft remains aligned with God's purpose. True wealth includes emotional maturity, and God is cultivating that maturity within you so that your rise remains graceful. There will be opportunities that require courage, invitations that stretch you beyond what feels comfortable, and decisions that test your readiness to step into larger spaces. Do not shrink back when these moments appear, because they are part of the pathway through which unexpected wealth flows into your life. Courage will act as the bridge between promise and fulfillment, and your faith will act as the foundation beneath every bold step. God is not pushing you into danger, but guiding you into expansion that reflects your true potential. As you move forward, keep your gratitude active and your heart attentive to the gentle guidance of the Holy Spirit. Prosperity without guidance can lead to confusion, but prosperity with divine direction leads to stability and lasting impact. You will notice that certain ideas come with clarity and peace, while others feel rushed or pressured. And learning to discern this difference will protect your increase. The wealth from God carries alignment, and alignment carries lasting fruit. There will also be a deeper awareness of how far you have come, and gratitude will rise naturally as you remember the days when even small expenses felt overwhelming. God has walked with you through every stage, and this new chapter is a continuation of that faithful companionship. You are not stepping into wealth alone, because the same presence that sustained you in scarcity will guide you in surplus. That steady presence is your greatest treasure, ensuring that material blessings never replace spiritual grounding. With each step into greater provision, continue to cultivate generosity as a lifestyle rather than an occasional act. The more freely you give with wisdom and compassion, the more you reflect the heart of Christ in your daily life. This generosity will not diminish your resources, because God multiplies what flows through open hands rooted in love. Type yes to affirm. Affirmation is a declaration that you are ready not only to receive, but also to steward wisely and share generously. The wealth coming your way is unexpected to you, but it has always been part of God's design for your journey. You are chosen not because of perfection, but because of persistent faith and a heart that refused to turn away during storms. Now the season of visible reward is approaching, and it will reveal that heaven's timing has always been precise. Continue walking with humility, anchored in prayer, and guided by love. Because this increase is not the end of your story, but the beginning of a wider influence and deeper joy. Your life is expanding in ways that reflect God's goodness, and every blessing carries the signature of His care. Stay steady, remain grateful, and embrace the abundance with a heart that remembers where it all began. There is a deeper layer to this unexpected wealth that God is preparing to release into your life, and it reaches far beyond visible resources or financial stability because it touches the inner places of your heart where confidence, identity, and courage have quietly been growing through every challenge you endured. God is not only changing your circumstances, but He is also strengthening your sense of worth so that when abundance arrives, you will not feel small or undeserving, but steady and secure in His love. The years that seemed slow were forming roots beneath the surface, and now those roots are strong enough to support growth that will be visible to everyone around you. What is coming will not feel like a fragile gift that could disappear overnight, but like a planted tree that stands firm even when winds attempt to shake it. In the past, you may have struggled with feelings of limitation, wondering if your background, your mistakes, or your lack of connections would hold you back from ever experiencing true increase. God has been quietly rewriting that belief system, replacing insecurity with assurance and fear, with trust that He is your ultimate source. When unexpected wealth flows into your life, it will break old mental chains that once told you to expect less and settle for survival rather than abundance. You will begin to think differently about what is possible, not because pride has entered your heart, but because faith has expanded your vision. There will be a moment of realization when you understand that this blessing is not simply about personal comfort, but about fulfilling assignments that once felt out of reach due to limited resources. Dreams that were paused will awaken again with new strength, and plans that seemed unrealistic will begin to look achievable through God's provision. This is how heaven restores hope, by placing tangible support behind the desires that were planted in your spirit long ago. Type 2020 to claim miracles. Claiming miracles is not about demanding from God, but about aligning your expectation with His generosity and timing. The wealth He sends carries the fragrance of purpose, and you will notice that it connects directly to areas where you have long desired to make a difference. Perhaps there were times when you wished you could help someone more deeply, invest in a meaningful project, or create stability for your family without constant worry. God has heard those quiet desires, and He is preparing to answer them in ways that feel both surprising and perfectly suited to your life. As this season unfolds, you will notice that your prayers begin to shift from desperation to gratitude, because what once felt uncertain will now feel supported by visible evidence of God's faithfulness. Gratitude will become your natural response, not because everything is perfect, but because you can see clearly how far you have been carried. This gratitude will protect your heart from pride and keep you grounded in humility, ensuring that wealth remains a blessing rather than a distraction. When gratitude leads, wisdom follows closely behind. Unexpected wealth can sometimes bring attention from others, and you may find that people begin to look at you differently as your circumstances improve. Some will celebrate sincerely, while others may struggle quietly with comparison or misunderstanding. Guard your heart carefully, responding with kindness and steadiness, because the character you display during increase will speak louder than the resources themselves. God is not only blessing you with provision, but also giving you the opportunity to reflect Christ's humility in visible ways. There may also be opportunities to invest in your own growth, whether through learning, creating, or stepping into leadership roles that once felt intimidating. Do not shrink back from these invitations, because they are part of the expansion that God is orchestrating around you. The wealth coming into your hands is designed to empower you, not to confine you within comfort. You will feel a new boldness rising within your spirit, a quiet confidence that you are equipped for more, because God is walking with you every step. In moments of reflection, you will remember the times when even small victories felt significant, and you will see clearly how those small victories were stepping stones towards something greater. Nothing was wasted, not even the delays that once frustrated you, because each experience sharpened your discernment and strengthened your patience. Now those qualities will help you navigate abundance with balance and foresight. True prosperity includes wisdom, and wisdom grows through both lack and overflow. God is also preparing your heart to handle generosity at a higher level, because wealth that flows only inward can become stagnant, but wealth that flows outward remains vibrant and alive. You will find joy in giving, not from obligation, but from genuine compassion shaped by your own memories of struggle. This generosity will create ripples of blessing that extend far beyond what you can see, touching lives in quiet and powerful ways. In this way, your unexpected wealth becomes part of a larger story of restoration and hope. There may be days when you feel overwhelmed by the speed of change, because what once seemed distant is now unfolding quickly before your eyes. When those feelings arise, pause and remember that the same God who guided you through slow seasons is guiding you through swift ones. Stability does not come from how fast things move, but from who is leading the movement. Rest in the assurance that nothing arriving in this season has escaped divine oversight. You will begin to sense a deeper peace settling into your home and your heart, because financial strain often creates hidden tension that affects many areas of life. As that strain lifts, space will open for joy, creativity, and connection to grow more freely. Conversations will feel lighter, decisions will feel clearer, and the future will no longer seem like a narrow path filled with obstacles. Instead, it will feel like an open horizon shaped by hope and guided by faith. Throughout this transformation, continue nurturing your relationship with God, because His presence remains your greatest treasure regardless of material increase. Spend time in quiet reflection, offering thanks and seeking guidance so that every step remains aligned with His will. Wealth without intimacy with God can feel empty, but wealth accompanied by closeness to Him feels deeply fulfilling and secure. Type 1212. If you walk by faith. Walking by faith means trusting that what is happening now is part of a larger design that extends beyond your immediate understanding. It means believing that unexpected wealth is not an accident, but a manifestation of promises nurtured through perseverance. Your faith has carried you this far, and it will continue to guide you through every new level of responsibility and opportunity. There is beauty in knowing that your journey is not random, but intentionally crafted by a loving Father. As you move forward, keep your heart soft and your hands open, because the blessings coming your way are meant to be received with gratitude and shared with wisdom. Do not fear losing what God has given, because what He establishes is supported by His strength, rather than by fragile human systems. Confidence will replace anxiety, and expectation will replace doubt as you witness tangible proof of divine provision unfolding around you. God saw the humility in those moments, and He stored every tear and every silent prayer as seeds waiting for a future harvest. Now that harvest is forming, and it will restore not only your stability, but also your sense of worth and confidence. When wealth arrives from God, it does not shout or boast, but it settles gently into your life like a steady light that removes the shadows of fear and uncertainty. You will notice that your decisions become calmer because you are no longer pressured by constant financial strain. Peace will replace panic and careful planning will replace survival thinking, allowing you to move forward with clarity rather than desperation. This inner shift is part of the blessing because true prosperity includes freedom from the anxiety that once followed you like a silent companion. There will be a new rhythm in your daily life, one shaped by security and gratitude instead of worry and tension. Tasks that once felt overwhelming will become manageable, and long-postponed goals will finally feel reachable. You may find yourself waking up with a lighter spirit, sensing that the weight you carried for so long has begun to lift in ways you cannot fully explain. This change is not accidental because God is aligning your environment with the prayers you offered in faith during seasons of hardship. As stability grows, your perspective on giving and receiving will deepen in maturity and balance. You will understand that accepting blessings is not selfish when your heart remains anchored in humility and gratitude. God delights in providing for His children, and He is pleased when they receive His gifts with reverence rather than guilt. The unexpected wealth flowing toward you is a sign of divine care, and it reflects a Father who desires your well-being and not your constant struggle. There may be moments when you look at your life and feel amazed at how different it appears compared to the days when you wondered how you would manage the next responsibility. Allow yourself to feel that amazement without fear, because gratitude honors God and strengthens your faith for the future. Remember that every improvement you witness is rooted in His faithfulness rather than in your own limited strength. The transformation unfolding around you is evidence that heaven responds to persistent trust. Your home will feel different, not only because of increased resources, but because the atmosphere will carry relief and renewed hope. Conversations will shift from survival to possibility, and plans will no longer be shaped by restriction alone. Laughter may return in places where tension once lingered quietly in the background. This emotional renewal is part of the wealth God is sending, because abundance touches the heart before it touches the account. With this increase will come responsibility, and God is gently preparing you to handle it with wisdom and grace. You will feel prompted to seek counsel, to plan carefully, and to remain disciplined even while enjoying the blessing. Prosperity managed without wisdom can slip away, but prosperity guided by discernment grows steadily and securely. The same patience that carried you through waiting seasons will now protect your growth during flourishing seasons. There will also be divine connections forming around you, relationships that align with your new level and support your continued expansion. Some individuals will enter your life with shared values, mutual respect, and opportunities that encourage growth rather than drain energy. These connections are part of the provision, because God often uses people as instruments of favor and partnership. Be attentive to these alignments and approach them with integrity and openness. In quiet moments, reflect on how far you have traveled, because remembrance will keep your heart tender and grateful. The days of struggle were not meaningless, and the lessons learned during those times will serve you well now. You understand the value of every resource, and you do not take stability lightly because you remember what instability felt like. This awareness will guard you against waste and cultivate stewardship that honors God. There may still be occasional challenges, because no life is completely free from obstacles, yet you will face them from a position of strength rather than scarcity. Confidence will replace fear when unexpected expenses arise, and you will handle them with calm assurance instead of panic. The difference will be clear, not because challenges disappear, but because provision surrounds you more consistently. This stability will allow you to focus on purpose rather than constant survival. God is also shaping your influence, because wealth handled with humility becomes a testimony that encourages others who are still waiting for their breakthrough. Your story will quietly inspire those who see your transformation and recognize the steady hand of divine grace upon your journey. You may not always speak loudly about your blessings, but your peace and generosity will communicate more than words ever could. Type 19119 to receive miracles. Receiving miracles is an act of trust, and trust opens the heart to even greater alignment with God's intentions. The wealth flowing into your life is part of a larger restoration that includes confidence, stability, and renewed hope for the future. Continue nurturing gratitude daily, because gratitude protects joy and keeps your spirit anchored in humility. When gratitude leads your steps, abundance becomes a tool rather than a trap. There will be opportunities to invest, not only financially, but emotionally and spiritually, into projects that reflect your calling. You may feel drawn to support causes that once felt distant or unattainable due to limited resources. This alignment between provision and purpose is not random, but carefully orchestrated by a loving Father who knows your heart. The more you follow that alignment, the more fulfilling your journey will become. As the season of unexpected wealth continues, hold tightly to your identity in Christ, because that identity remains your true foundation. Resources may increase and opportunities may expand, yet your deepest security will always be found in God's presence guiding your path. Wealth is a blessing, but His companionship is the treasure that sustains every blessing. Keep your spirit rooted in prayer and reflection, ensuring that your growth remains balanced and centered. You are stepping into a chapter marked by restoration and forward movement, and it carries the fragrance of answered prayers and faithful endurance. Every tear shed during difficult nights is being exchanged for steady provision and renewed confidence. As this unfolding season matures around you, there will be a sacred realization settling gently into your heart, reminding you that unexpected wealth is not simply a reward, but a responsibility woven into your spiritual growth. God is expanding your territory, not only so you can enjoy comfort, but so you can reflect His goodness in tangible ways that bring light into places once touched by your own hardship. The journey from lack to abundance has carved compassion deep within you, and that compassion will guide how you handle every increase placed into your care. What once felt like private struggle is now becoming public testimony of divine faithfulness and steady love.
My child, listen to me. I am speaking to you right now, and I need you to hear every word I am placing in your spirit. So many will skip this, but I know you won't. I know your heart. I know the weight you've been carrying. I know the quiet prayers you whispered when no one was around. I know the moments you questioned if I still saw you, if I still remembered you, if I still cared. I brought you here because the answer is yes. I see you. I remember you. And I care more deeply than you could ever imagine. You didn't find this by accident. Heaven placed this message right in front of you because your destiny is calling your name. Right now, and you cannot afford to look away. I want you to pause for a moment. Dream. Feel how everything around you suddenly feels different. That is not emotion. That is not coincidence. That is my presence touching your spirit. Time is not moving the same for you in this moment. Heaven is watching your next decision. I am watching the way your heart is leaning toward these words. I am watching the battle inside you. The part of you that wants to give up, and the part of you that still hopes. I am speaking to the part of you that is tired but still searching for me. The part that wants to believe again. The part that refuses to walk away from the promise I placed inside your soul. Hear me clearly. You were chosen to hear this. Many people will scroll past these words without knowing what they were walking away from. But you stayed. You stayed because your spirit knows this message is for you. Something inside you felt the pull. Something inside you whispered, "Don't skip this." That was me. That was my voice inside your heart. I guided your eyes here. I guided your soul. Here I guided your timing. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where I need you to be. Listen to me with the deepest part of your heart. You have been walking through a season that tried to silence you. A season that tried to make you believe you were forgotten. A season where darkness tried to cover your light, but you kept moving. You kept fighting. You kept hoping even when you were exhausted. And because you stayed faithful in the storm, heaven has brought you to this moment of clarity. Do not scroll. Do not leave. For what I am about to reveal will shift something in your life. Angels pushed this message toward you. They moved things around your day. They shifted your attention. They fought battles in the spiritual realm just to make sure you did not miss this moment. That is how important this is. That is how important you are. You are not here by chance. You are here because you are chosen. You are here because the next chapter of your life is about to begin. You are here because I am calling your name with a love that has never failed and never will. My child, destiny is calling you. You may not feel prepared. You may not feel worthy. You may not feel strong enough. But I am telling you that everything you have been through has been shaping you, building you, preparing you for what is coming next. The breakthrough you have been praying for is closer than you think. The answer you have been waiting for is already on its way. Something you have been carrying in your heart for a long time is about to be released into your life. And I am telling you this now because I want you to be ready. I want you to believe again. I want you to step into the blessing that have been waiting for music you. You've been wondering, Lord, when will things finally shift for me? And I am answering you now. Your life is about to shift. Not in a small way, not in a temporary way, but in a deep, lasting, undeniable way. I am bringing restoration to places that were broken. I am bringing peace to places that were anxious. I am bringing joy to places that felt empty. I am bringing clarity to places that were confused. I am bringing strength to places that were weak. I am bringing light to places that were dark. I need you to understand something that will change the way you see your life. Every moment of pain you endured, every tear you cried, every disappointment that crushed you, it was not the end. It was a preparation. The enemy tried to make you believe that the storm was punishment. But I tell you the truth, it was positioning. Positioning you for the blessing. Positioning you for the breakthrough. Positioning you for the destiny that is calling your name right this moment. My child, do not look away. Do not let your mind wander. Stay here with me. Let me speak to your heart the way I have been longing to. Let me pour into you the strength you thought you lost. Let me remind you that you are loved with a love that does not fade. Let me remind you that you are chosen in ways you still don't fully understand. Let me remind you that your presence on this earth is not a mistake, not an accident, not random. You were designed with purpose, created with intention, and called with destiny. I see the nights when you stayed awake because your mind would not rest. I see the moments when you tried to smile through the pain. I see the times you felt numb, confused, overwhelmed, empty. I see the questions that have been sitting in your heart for so long. And I also see the strength inside you that you do not see in yourself. I see the courage it took for you to keep going when everything in you wanted to stop. I see how hard you have been trying. I see the weight you've been silently carrying. And I'm telling you right now, you were never carrying it alone. I walked with you through every moment, even when you didn't feel me. I held you together when you thought you were falling apart. I protected you from battles you didn't know were happening. I lifted you when you didn't know how to stand. I whispered peace to your heart when fear tried to drown you. And today, I am whispering something even stronger. I am whispering destiny. I am whispering purpose. I am whispering hope. I am whispering truth that will break the lies that have surrounded your life. Comment Amen. I believe you're at work for me if you know He's orchestrating your life. So many will skip this, but I know you won't because something in you is awakening. Something in you is remembering who you are. Something in you is recognizing my voice. Something in you is saying, this is for me. And you are right. This is for you. This is your confirmation. This is your moment. This is your sign. This is your turning point. You are stepping into a new season because heaven is ready to move for you. Your heart is not hearing these words by chance. Is hearing them because it is time. Time for healing. Time for release. Time for restoration. Time for breakthrough. Time for answers. Time for clarity. Time for destiny to rise inside you again. Stay with me. Do not scroll. You are in a divine moment, and heaven is watching your next decision. I am here. I am speaking. I am calling your name. And what I am about to say next will touch the deepest part of your soul. Stay. Listen, your destiny is opening right now. My child, I brought you here because this message could not wait another moment. Heaven has been pulling on your spirit, guiding your steps, placing signs around you, whispering to your heart, trying to get you to this exact place. You are standing at a spiritual doorway, a moment where everything can shift for you. This moment is not ordinary. This message is not ordinary. What is happening inside you right now is not happening by chance. You are standing in front of a door that leads into the next chapter of your destiny, and your next choice will either open it or delay it. That is why I could not let you miss this. That is why heaven pushed this message in front of you at this exact time today. The breakthrough is hidden in these next words. I guided your spirit here. You may think you simply clicked, scrolled, or randomly landed here. But no, I led you. I touched your heart at the perfect second. I moved through the tiredness, the distractions, the heaviness you carried today. And I still brought you here because something in your life needs to shift now. Something you have been trying to carry alone is becoming too heavy. Something inside you is breaking or has been broken for a long time, and you are trying to hold yourself together. So I came to speak life back into places that felt numb. I came to restore the fire inside you that pain tried to extinguish. I came to remind you of who you are and whose you are. You didn't know it, but the enemy tried everything to stop you from reaching this moment. He used discouragement to slow you down. He used a fear to confuse you. He used exhaustion to drain you. He whispered lies to your mind, hoping you would believe you were not worthy, not enough, not chosen. He threw disappointment after disappointment at you to make you think I had forgotten you. He tried to bury your hope under silence. He tried to drown your spirit under pressure. But still, you made it here. Do you see the beauty in that? Do you see the strength inside you? You made it here. That means your destiny is stronger than your pain. My child, listen closely. There have been moments where you almost walked away from everything. Moments when you wanted to disappear. Moments when the weight in your chest felt too heavy to carry. Moments when you looked at your life and felt like nothing was making sense. Moments when you wondered if you were cursed, overlooked, or abandoned. Moments when you felt like heaven was silent. But heaven was never silent. Heaven was working. Heaven was fighting for you. Heaven was guiding you slowly. Even when you could not feel it, you did not go through these months and years alone. Even when your heart felt empty, let me tell you something you need to hear. Your endurance has shaken the darkness. Your persistence has confused the enemy. Your ability to keep going despite everything that tried to break you has proven that the calling on your life is not small. The calling on your life is powerful. That is why you have faced so many battles. That is why you have been attacked emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and sometimes even physically. The enemy only fights those who carry something valuable in the spirit. You are carrying something powerful. You are carrying purpose. You are carrying destiny inside you. You are carrying light in a world full of darkness. You are carrying a future that threatens hell itself. Think back for a moment. Look at everything you survive. Look at the moments that should have destroyed you but didn't. Look at the nights you cried yet somehow woke up with enough strength to face another day. Look at the situations that were meant to break your spirit. Yet your spirit is still reaching for me, still searching for hope. That is not weakness. That is divine strength. That is destiny refusing to die. That is your calling refusing to be buried. That is my hand holding you even when you didn't realize it. Please support our channel. Our purpose is to bring joy, peace, and a deeper devotion to God into your life. If you feel blessed by our work, you can show your love and support by donating through Super Thanks. My child, I know you have been tired. Not just physically tired, but soul tired. I know your heart feels worn out. I know the battles have drained you. I know you've been carrying wounds, music that no one sees. I know you've been pretending to be strong while breaking on the inside. I know the smile you show the world is not the smile you feel in your heart. I know how heavy life feels some days. I know the struggles that weigh you down. I know how many times you've said in your mind, Lord, Music, I can't do this anymore. And yet here you are, still breathing, still seeking, still hoping, still reaching, still listening. That alone is evidence that heaven has not let you fall. This message has been waiting for you because it is your turning point. The enemy wanted you to believe your life would always feel like this. Heavy, confusing, music disappointing, stuck. He wanted you to believe that things would never change. He wanted you to settle for less. He wanted you to give up, but you failed. You made it here. Your spirit responded to my call. Your heart recognized my voice in the midst of the noise. And that means something powerful is shifting. My child, hear me with your whole heart. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not overlooked. You are not lost. You are standing in front of a spiritual doorway that leads into healing, clarity, restoration, and purpose. The battles you fought were not random. The pain you went through was not meaningless. The silence you experienced was not rejection. Everything was aligning you with this moment. You prayed for answers. But before I could give you answers, I had to position your spirit to receive what I'm about to say. You prayed for change. But before I could bring change, I had to remove certain things from your life that were blocking you. You prayed for breakthrough. But before breakthrough can come, your heart needed to be strengthened. You prayed for peace. But before I could give you peace, I had to confront the things that were stealing it. Everything you went through had purpose, even the parts that hurt the most. I need you to stay. Do not walk away from this moment. Something deep is happening inside you. Something that your eyes cannot see, but your spirit can feel. This message is pulling on the deepest part of your soul, because I am calling out to the part of you that has been silent for too long. The part that has been hurting, the part that has been dreaming, the part that has been waiting, the part that has been questioning, the part that has been trying to hold on. I am touching that part now. I am breathing life into that place now. Today, a breakthrough is hidden in these next words. You have been waiting for a sign, and this is it. You have been waiting for confirmation, and this is it. You have been asking me if you were still on the right path, and I am answering you now. Yes, you are. You are exactly where you need to be. You are not behind. You are not delayed. Everything is aligning exactly as it should. Even the moments that felt like setbacks were actually preparation for what is coming next. My child, I need you to know this. Your destiny is calling your name, and I will not let your story end in pain. I will not let your purpose slip away. I will not let the enemy steal what belongs to you. I will not let your heart remain broken. I will not let your spirit stay weary. I will not let you drown in fear or doubt. I am lifting you. I am strengthening you. I am preparing you. I am leading you. I guided your spirit here because it is time. Time for clarity. Time for restoration. Time for the impossible to become possible. Time for your story to shift. Time for heaven to intervene. Time for your destiny to open. Stay with me. You are not here by accident. You are here because the next chapter of your life starts now. My child, come closer to me now. I want to speak to the deepest part of your heart. I want to talk to the version of you that has been hurting in silence. The version of you that has been trying to stay strong while feeling like everything inside you is falling apart. I have been watching you closely, far more closely than you realize. Every moment you felt unseen. Every moment you believed no one cared. Every moment you cried in the quiet of your room, I was there. I saw you. I heard you. I felt the weight you were carrying. You were never alone. Even when you thought no one noticed your pain, I saw the nights when you cried silently, the tears that soaked your pillow while you tried to hide the shaking in your chest. I watched the way you held yourself together in the dark, thinking no one would ever understand what was happening inside you. You didn't want anyone to worry. You didn't want anyone to judge you. You didn't want anyone to think you were weak. So you cried in a way that no one else could hear. But I heard you. I always heard you, and those tears reached my heart. There were times you whispered into the darkness, "God, do you still hear me?" I remember the sound of your voice trembling, the way your heart ached as you waited for me to speak. You didn't want anything fancy. You didn't want miracles. You just wanted to know I was still near. You wanted to know that I hadn't forgotten you. You wanted to know that your prayers weren't disappearing into nothing. And even when you felt like heaven was silent, I was listening. My silence was not my absence. You prayed those broken prayers because you were doing everything you could to stay afloat. You prayed even when you felt nothing. You prayed even when you were numb. You prayed even when you thought I wasn't answering. That kind of faith is rare, my child. That kind of faith is strong, and it is part of why your destiny is so powerful. You don't realize it, but every moment you reached for me in weakness, you grew stronger in ways you didn't even see. There were moments when you wanted to give up. Moments when the world felt too heavy. Moments when you felt like you were drowning in your own thoughts. I saw those days when you woke up already tired. When getting out of bed felt like a battle. When even small things felt overwhelming. You didn't tell anyone about those days because you didn't want to disappoint anyone. You didn't want to be a burden. You didn't want anyone to worry. And so you kept fighting inside your own mind, thinking you had to carry everything alone. But you didn't. You never did. I walked with you through every moment. Every time your heart whispered, "I can't do this anymore," I wrapped my presence around you. Every time your mind spiraled into fear, I held you steady, even when you couldn't feel my hands. Every time you wanted to quit, I placed strength inside you that you didn't even notice. You survived what should have broken you, because I did not let you fall. I saw the betrayals that cut your heart deeply. I saw the people who promised to stay and then disappeared without explanation. I saw the ones who used your kindness, the ones who lied to you, the ones who pretended to care but only stayed as long as it benefited them. I saw how those betrayals made you question your worth, made you wonder if something was wrong with you, made you fear trusting again. But there was nothing wrong with you. The wrong was in the way they treated you. The wrong was in their inability to see your value. You did not lose them. They lost you. And the pain they caused did not go unnoticed. I saw every wound. I saw when you hid your pain behind a smile. I saw the way your lips curled upward even when your heart was breaking inside your chest. You have mastered the art of acting strong, haven't you? You have learned how to laugh while hurting. You have learned how to comfort others while you were drowning. You have learned how to pretend everything is fine, so no one asks questions. But I saw through all of it. I saw the truth behind your eyes. I saw how tired your soul was. I saw the heaviness you carried but kept hidden. I saw the loneliness you never told anyone about. There were days when you were surrounded by people, yet you felt completely alone. You kept waiting for someone to really see you, someone to understand without you having to explain, someone to hold your heart gently. But you were afraid to open up, afraid that your vulnerability would be misunderstood, afraid that someone would walk away again. So you carried the loneliness quietly, hoping it would fade. But it didn't. Instead, it sat in your chest like a weight you couldn't shake. And through all of it, I stayed close to you. I stayed near you, even when you thought no one cared. I saw the storms inside your mind. I saw the overthinking, the racing thoughts, the fears that played over and over again, the doubts that tried to crush your confidence. I saw the battles no one else could see. I saw how hard it was for you to silence the noise in your head. I saw the way your thoughts turned into storms that left you exhausted. The world never saw that part of you, but I did. I saw every moment you fought to find peace. And I want you to know that those storms were not signs of weakness. They were signs of a heart that has been fighting for too long without rest. Say amen? I trust you in every moment. If surrender brings you peace, my child, I have watched you more closely than you realize. Not from a distance, not from far above, but closely, intimately, lovingly. Every step of your journey has been within my sight. Every sigh, every tear, every question, every fear, every small moment of hope, I saw it all. I collected your tears. I guarded your heart. I walked beside you through valleys so deep that even you thought you wouldn't make it through. Yet here you are, stronger than you think, braver than you know, chosen in ways you still don't understand? Let me tell you something that will lift the weight from your chest. You have never been unseen. Not for a moment. Not for a breath. Not for a heartbeat. I saw you the moment you felt forgotten. I saw you the moment you felt unimportant. I saw you the moment you felt unloved. I saw the struggles you couldn't explain. I saw the pain you tried to hide. I saw the moments you wished someone would ask, "Are you really okay?" I saw the way you longed for someone to understand without judging you. Saw it all. I have been watching you closely because you matter to me. Your pain matters to me. Your healing matters to me. Your future matters to me. And I am not going to let the wounds of your past define the rest of your story. I am here to remind you that your life is not invisible to heaven. Your emotions are not ignored. Your struggles are not unnoticed. Your heart is not forgotten. You may feel like no one has truly seen you, but I have. And I will continue to see you, protect you, guide you, hold you, and love you in every season that comes next. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You will never be alone. I am here, and I am not leaving. My child, listen to me now with an open heart, because what I am about to reveal will heal places inside you that have been hurting for a long time. You have asked me so many times, Lord, why the delay? Why did it take so long? Why did I have to feel so much pain? Why was heaven so silent when I needed answers? I heard your questions. I saw the confusion in your spirit, and today I am giving you the truth your heart has been waiting for. Do not leave now. Your confirmation is coming in a few seconds. The delays you faced were not punishment. They were protection. You thought I was ignoring you? You thought I was withholding blessings from you? You thought I was letting life pass you by while others moved ahead? But my child, I was protecting you from things you did not see. It's from people who were not ready, from opportunities that would have harmed you, from roads that would have drained your spirit. I slowed certain things down because the timing was not safe for your heart. You were not losing time. I was saving your life. There were moments when you cried and asked, "Why not now?" And I whispered into your spirit, "Not yet." You thought "not yet" meant I was rejecting you. But it meant I was preparing something better. I was aligning the right people, the right circumstances, the right environment, the right timing. And I was preparing you. Because if I had given you what you asked for too early, it would have overwhelmed you. It would have broken you. It would have pulled you away from me. You were praying for blessings, but I was protecting your destiny. My child, you did not realize that the tears you cried in the delay were watering the future I am bringing. Every tear planted a seed. Every prayer planted hope. Every night you held on when you felt empty built strength inside you. You felt like nothing was moving, but something was growing beneath the surface. Your future did not disappear. It was maturing. And now the time for your harvest is approaching. Let me talk to you about the pain you felt. I know how deeply life has hurt you. I know the moments you felt broken beyond repair. I know how much you had to endure silently. I know the way your heart shattered when things you trusted fell apart. But hear me clearly. Your pain was not for nothing. The enemy tried to use it to destroy you, but I used it to grow you. Everything that broke you is turning into what builds you. Your pain taught you compassion. Your disappointment taught you wisdom. Your heartbreak taught you strength. Your loneliness taught you resilience. Your delays taught you patience. Your bowels taught you faith. You did not go through all of that just to go back to the person you used to be. You went through it because you were becoming someone stronger, deeper, wiser, and far more powerful than before. The version of you that is emerging from this season is a version the enemy hoped would never rise. But you are rising anyway. And now let me reveal something you've struggled to understand. The reason certain people left your life, I know their absence hurt you. I know their departure felt like betrayal. I know how deeply you attached your heart to people who could not stay. But my child, some people were removed not because you were unworthy, but because your calling was too great to be tied to them. They were not meant to walk into your future. They could not carry the weight of your destiny. They would have held you back. drained your spirit, or broken your heart further. So I removed them with a love you did not recognize at the time. You thought you were losing people, but you were being protective. You thought they walked away because something was wrong with you. But in truth, they walked away because they was right for you. You thought their absence was rejection, but it was divine direction. Some left because they had reached the limit of their purpose in your life. Some left because their presence was blocky the blessings I was ready to send. Some left because their loyalty was temporary. And I didn't want temporary people in a permanent chapter of your story. It wasn't abandonment. It was alignment. I was removing the wrong people to make space for the right ones. People who will support you, uplift you, understand you, and walk with you instead of against you. You don't have to chase those who left. What is meant for you will stay. What is sent by me will never leave your life out of selfishness, pride, or betrayal. And now let me tell you why your prayers took long to be answered. You thought I was silent. You thought I wasn't listening. You thought I was ignoring your pain. But every prayer you praying reached me. Not one word was wasted. Every cry, every whisper, every plea, I heard them all. But I answered based on what was best for you, not what felt quickest. I delayed certain things because your heart needed healing first. I delayed certain blessings because the environment around you wasn't ready. I delayed certain breakthroughs because giving them too soon would have harmed you. You prayed for change, but I had to change you first. You prayed for doors to open, but I was strengthening your character so you could handle what was on the other side. You prayed for blessings, but I was removing the wrong influences that would have destroyed those blessings. You prayed for clarity, but I had to silence distractions around you. You prayed for love, but I had to heal the broken parts of your heart. You prayed for answers, but I had to rewrite the entire path you were walking on. My child, when I delay, I am not denying you. When I silence everything around you, I am preparing something within you. When I say wait, I am not withholding. I am perfecting. You haven't been waiting in emptiness. You've been waiting in preparation, and now the waiting is reaching its end. I know the silence was painful. I know it made you question everything. I know it created moments where you felt forgotten. But my silence was not distance. It was protection. I was shielding you from storms you didn't see. I was fighting battles you didn't know were happening. I was preparing blessings that needed time to grow. And I was shaping your spirit into something stronger than every attack you face. Do not leave now. You are closer than you think. Your confirmation is coming in a few seconds. Your heart is about to understand why everything happened the way it did. What felt like a breaking was actually a building. What felt like loss was actually clearing. What felt like abandonment was actually redirection. What felt like delay was actually me preparing a better ending than the one you prayed for. You survived delays that were meant to discourage you. You survived heartbreaks that were meant to destroy you. You survived silence that was meant to weaken your faith. You survived storms that were meant to bury you. And because you survived, you are stepping into a season that is going to lift you higher than anything you lost. You have been in a long night, but the morning is coming. You have been in a long winter, but the spring is rising. You have been in a long battle, but victory is unfolding. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. And soon you will see why the wait was worth it. Stay with me. I am not done speaking. Your story is shifting even now. Right, amen? Your faithfulness is my foundation if God's promises never fail you. And share this video.
My child, I came to you in a moment when you felt like no one truly understood what you were carrying. A moment that looked ordinary from the outside, but felt overwhelming within. When the silence of your room was louder than any noise, and your thoughts refused to rest. When you turned from one side to another trying to find comfort, but instead found yourself facing the same questions again and again. Wondering how everything became so heavy, how responsibilities kept increasing while your strength felt like it was slowly draining. how you continued to show up for others while quietly breaking inside. And in that moment when you whispered, almost as if you were unsure whether anyone would hear you, "God, are you really there? I want you to know that I heard you completely." Not just the words you spoke, but the emotions behind them, the weight in your heart, the tiredness in your soul, the silent tears you didn't even allow yourself to cry fully. I heard all of it, and I came closer to you than you have ever realized. Not in a way that made noise or demanded your attention, but in a quiet presence that stayed with you, even when you didn't recognize it. Because when your heart reaches out to me in honesty, even in doubt, even in weakness, I do not step away, I move closer. And that moment you thought was empty was actually the beginning of something deeply real happening in your life. The next day you woke up and continued your life as usual, following the same routine, carrying the same weight, moving through your responsibilities while that quiet heaviness stayed within you, and you may not have noticed it at first. But I had already started responding to you, not in a loud or dramatic way that would immediately change everything, but in a subtle and intentional way that required your attention to notice. Because later that day, when you were scrolling without purpose, not searching for anything meaningful, just trying to distract your mind for a moment, you paused on something that felt different, something that spoke directly into your situation in a way that made you stop and think, why does this feel like it's meant for me? And that moment was not random. It was not coincidence. It was not just another piece of content passing by. It was me reaching you in a way you could receive. Because sometimes I do not interrupt your life with force. I enter through moments that seem ordinary, but carry something personal, something that speaks directly to your current state. And that pause you took was the beginning of you realizing that you are not as alone as you thought.